Reggae Interviews. Word Sound Power.
This is DJ745 for Reggae Interviews, here virtually with David Cairol. He's an artist that I've met for the last 2 reggae months in 2020 and 2019 in Jamaica. He's here virtually in France at the moment. How are we doing today, David?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
You know, I would have rather done this face-to-face in Jamaica for Reggae Month 2021 that we've just finished celebrating, but hey, we're doing it virtually today.
Yeah, that's it. But it's always a pleasure, to share. And we are, we're lucky because we can communicate and share something together now. So it's a pleasure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, look,
Yeah.
I wanted to sort of ask you a little bit about where your initial love for reggae, where does it come from? Did you find reggae or did reggae find you?
Well, I would say reggae found me,
Okay.
because when I was at school, I was 14 and was supposed to go in England, a trip. It was a school trip, to England, like a lot of French students do here. And so we went there, and the first thing when we got up on the bus, a friend of mine was supposed to give me back a Lenny Kravitz tape,
Ah,
but he did a mistake at that time, and it was not the Lenny Kravitz that he gave me, but it was Bob Marley Legend album.
oh wow, okay.
So when I put the tape and I put it in my headphones, on me, and I say, "Wow, what's this? This is not Lenny Kravitz at all." I said, "Who's it?" He said to me, "Well, this is Bob Marley." I said, "Whoa!" And I was like, I had good goosebumps. First song it was "Is This Love" opening the album, and it changed my life forever. It was a blast, a real blast, and all my trip long, I was in England, and I was listening to Bob Marley, discovering the sound, the words, and everything, trying to translate everything because, well, I spoke English a little bit, but I was a student, so 14 years old, it's kind of young, but in a kind of way, Bob Marley taught me English too, because I was trying to translate every song that he did and trying to understand the message. And so the message and the music touched me so much that reggae was my life since then.
Wow, okay. What a story.
Yeah.
So did you ever
Yeah.
get Lenny Kravitz tape back?
You know what? Never.
Never.
No, no, no,
No.
no, I didn't.
That's
Yeah.
really interesting because I've got a similar story. So I went on an exchange trip from the UK to France, and back
Yeah.
then we didn't have Spotify or YouTube or anything. So you literally had a Walkman and you'd take 2 or 3 cassettes with you. And those cassettes you'd kind of hear again and again on repeat. And those
Yeah.
songs really sort of would stick in your mind. So yeah, I can totally relate to that story about, being with the Bob Marley Legends cassette and just listening to it on repeat.
That's it. It's very different now because you don't have this kind of story, like you said, But at that time, this things were different. It was like a treasure when you found something, you found a vinyl or a tape. It was like, wow, wow, I found that. Now today you go on Spotify and find everything, so different.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah. Now, we're really excited about your new single and video that's just been released a few days ago. The song is called Building Bridges. What an amazing song that is.
Well, I'm so proud to release that song. It's a real honor for me because I wrote that song the first time I came in Jamaica. I was in my room, and some people say, "Well, you don't want to record something?" And I say, "Yeah, why not? So let's go in the studio tomorrow." And we never really finished the work, But at that time, during that night, when they asked me to write that song, I wrote "Building Bridges." And when I came back to Jamaica, I met Brinsley Forde from England,
Yeah.
Aswad lead singer and founder. And so we met and we became friends, really quick because he came to the place I was living there. And so we were sharing a lot of moments going out, and playing music, jamming all the time and doing harmonies under the whispering tree, as we call it, because we had a tree in the yard where we were staying. And so, yeah, Brinsley was there, and I was recording my album at the time with a beautiful team of musicians. And I said to Brinsley, well, I've got a song. I never finished it. You want to go on? So he said to me, wow, yeah, let's go and let's do it. So we went to Encore. And this is the place where I met you with,
Where we met the first time in
yes,
2019, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And there was, the late Boppy Bowen, real
Yeah.
good friend. And yes, and this is a story about that song. And Brinsley came to me and said, one day we were like having a breakfast, and he said to me, well, you know that singer Var? I said, yes, I met her last year when I came for the first time in Jamaica. And I said, you know him? Well, he said to me, we have the same label, so we kind of label brothers. And he said, I had to meet him. And I said, well, it's a sign. Let's invite him on the track with us. And so here's the story of that song. We have Brinsley Forde and Var on that song, and I'm so proud because I love the human beings they are, and the artists and the talent they have. So yes.
So that's the story of how that song came together. Then, what a beautiful song it is, and you shot a video as well, which I know is out as well. So let's talk a little bit about the video then.
Yeah. So yeah, this is I was telling the story, and this is it's the next step of the story, because we recorded that song and we went to visit Var in his place in next to Maroon Town, so in Portland, next to Port Antonio. So we went there and we had like it was a day of celebration, and he had a lot of friends and people around him cooking all day long, and having a good time listening to music, jamming. And so I was there, and Brinsley was with me because we went by the car with Brinsley and with my producer Matthew Bost as well. And so we were there at our house. I said, well, we are all together. Why we could shoot something for the video, for the song, because we just recorded the song 2 days ago. So he said to me, well, let's do it. So we did it was like a vibe, or something, a jam that we did. We found that bridge next to Var's place, and we felt it was a good place to do it. So we didn't have a lot of battery on my iPhone. It was my iPhone,
Okay.
But it was shot in 4K, and so so we had the iPhone. Matthew Boss is filming he's shooting the video. He's on the car, and we shoot the video, and we did it it was 20 minutes, and we did the video like this, and the rest is images from the studio.
From the studio, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So tell me, how many times have you been back and forth to Jamaica then?
Excuse me?
How many times have you been back to Jamaica?
Right. I've been there like 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. First time was in November 2017. And then I came back 2 years ago in February to record the album. And then last year I came back for Reggae Month and promote my Oprah single,
Yes.
And so I had several gigs there, and Dennis Brown show as well. And yes, 3 times.
I know that all of the studios in Jamaica, they've all got a very, very individual or distinctive sound. Now, we met at Anchor, which is where I think you probably did quite a lot of the recordings. Why did you choose Anchor? Well,
this is, it was an advice from producer in France, Mathieu Bost.
Okay.
Who produced Skanking Sweet for Chronics, and he did like Rastamana Will Out and Beat on the Mic as well. So he talked to me and said, well, I've got some contacts over there, and some people told me about Fata. You know Fata?
Yeah.
And so he said to me, he's a really good engineer. We have to record with him because it's somebody we can trust, And we didn't know a lot of people in the studio at that time. So now I know a little bit more, in the studio and the people over there. So yes, he called Fata, and that's why we booked the place, and we really felt comfortable with him, and the work that he did was very good. I gotta thank Fata for the work he did. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, on the actual single Building Bridges, you've got quite a really nice sort of list of musicians, if I could say, because you've got some of the old school names and also some of the younger musicians as well.
True.
Who was behind putting together that group of musicians? Because you've got people like Hector, the roots percussionist.
Yeah.
You've got Winter James, and then you've got obviously people like Danny Basie,
Mm.
Bopey Bowen. How did you put together that group of musicians for building bridges?
Yeah, this is Matthew Boss. He was
Okay.
like, he's the producer of that album. He's like the the skipper.
Right. Okay.
So we talked together a lot. I came to him just after I was coming back from Jamaica
Okay.
2 years ago, and I discovered, I was a big fan of Chronics and Skanking Sweet, and I discovered that the man that produced that song was French. So
Yeah.
whoa, I gotta meet this man. So I called my manager. I said to her, if you have some contact from Mathieu Boss, it would be great. So, and I finally managed to to have him on the phone, and we talked, and he appreciated my music. So we met, and I explained that I wanted to record my album in Jamaica, and I had this link with Sam Clayton Jr. at that time and Steven Seward, and but I wanted to also to to record with the new generation. So we began to talk about the musicians and the people that we want to have the sound on that album. And so yes,
That's where it came
it,
together.
yeah, and so everything came together like this. And he called, first he called roots percussionist because he knew a little bit of chronic screw. So yeah, everything came together like this.
Together.
And where the contact, he had the contact. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Now I know that one of the people that was on the album who sadly passed away, Bopey
yeah.
Bowen, he's actually recently just been honoured by the Jaria Association for his contribution to the music. How does that
Mm.
make you feel?
Well, I'm so happy, and I think it's so well deserved, for the talent and the career that he had in his life. This is amazing. It's an amazing human being. He's one of those Jamaican artists that touched my heart for real, because I will never forget when we were in the studio. There was Sly and everybody, and sometimes, as a Frenchman, sometimes when it's you talk, you speak patois very fast. Sometimes you don't understand. So I was like, whoa, whoa. He came to me and said, well, don't worry. Look at me. I'm going to give you the sign. You will understand everything. Keep cool. It's going to be all right. And he was always, caring and sharing. So it was a pleasure. So, Boppy, I'm so happy for you wherever you are now. I got to thank you for all what you did for reggae music, and yeah, and for the people as a human being. Yes.
Mm, mm,
I'm so happy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now, this single that we're talking about, Building Bridges, it's part of a much bigger project, because I know that
Yeah.
later on in 2021, this is going to be one of the singles that's part of this new album that you're working on that we've been talking about. Let's give our viewers a little bit of an insight into the actual album, because I know it's a double album,
Yeah.
and one part is in French, one part is sung in English.
Right. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, the intention in that album is that I wanted to record a lot of tracks in Jamaica, and I had many because I wrote a lot during that 2 years before recording.
Okay.
And Jamaica inspired me a lot, and it was a point in my life that time was changing. So I had a lot of inspiration, and Jamaica was a part of it as well. So I wanted to tell the people and the world as well. So how I felt about Jamaica and reggae, and that they feel my roots, musically. So I wanted to do a real reggae album in English, like I always, used to learn to listen to, because I was a big fan of reggae for a long time.
Time.
So I wanted to do this kind of classic album, and it was my dream. So this is why we try to fix a first English part, like a first album. This is the verse album, and the second part in French gonna come later. It's gonna be called reverse.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because this is my journey. I went to Jamaica, I felt the vibe over there, and I came back home with that, you know. So it kind of changed my life and changed my way of, you know, building music and building bridges as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is the main story, and it's all about the main topic of verse, so the first part in English that you heard about. It's all about environment, nature, and what we do, direction we're gonna take, you know, because this is the main point today. What we're gonna do with this word if we keep that way. So yes, it's all about. It's like a warning, you know, about that.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's going to have like a really sort of like an authentic type of sound to it.
Yes, yeah, we have a rootsy sound. Yes, I wanted that on that album, and the people play on it, you know,
Yeah.
are a big part of it because, like, when you have Sly Dunbar, Chino Smith, Bobby Bowen, Bongo Herman, Steven Stewart, they are all, you know, deeply involved in the music and the feeling they have. You know, it was amazing to work with them in the studio and feel that vibe and the strength in it. And they were so involved, and you know, and the faces changing all the time, and they were so involved. And this is the way I want to live music. You know,
Yeah.
so I found my place because I was always like this. You know, in the way I used to work in France, but I never felt people like this involved in reggae music in the way they play. So it was, yes, they gave the rootsy sound of that album, and the young generation that you was talking about before,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same. Because they know the roots, and for me, the roots. If you know the roots, you know where you go, and you know where you're from. So this is the basis. Mm.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah,
Now, I know that apart from obviously having Brinsley Forde and VAR on the single Building Bridges that's just been released, you've also worked and had a few other guests on that are going to be coming on the album as well. So I think a couple of names that I think I've come to hear about: Judy Mowat, the
yeah.
legend from the I3s. How does David Cairol from France manage to work with a legend like Judy Mowat? How did that come about?
Well, it's really amazing. It's an amazing story as well. You want me to tell you the story?
I'd love to hear it.
Yes, that's okay. All right. So, well, I began to write a song 10 years ago in my room, and the name was Echoes from the Jungle. And I just had, you know, the first verse, and when I finished the first verse, every time I had this, you know, this gimmick of la da 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 la da da da. It was the black woman gimmick, you know, from Judy's song. So I was like, wow. So I was, you know, scatting this kind of vibe. I was like, I was singing that, you know, every time. But I said to myself, you know, but it was like a secret that you never tell. I said to myself, wow, if one day, if Judy could sing that, it would be amazing. It would be crazy for me.
Okay.
And when I met Steve, so I come back earlier now, not later, sorry. I come back to, you know, when I met Steven and Sam. And Sam told me about, you know, the album and the way he felt, you know, the sound and the way we're gonna arrange the songs and everything. And I said to him, well, you know, I've got a question for you. I don't know if you know her, but I would really love to invite on that song Judy Mowat, because it's like a sign. It's like God telling me that she has to sing on that part, you know. So he said to me, well, I'm gonna see with Steven, sorry, with Steven, and so yes, they they contacted her, and first she wanted to know, you know, the meaning of the lyrics, and because it was very important for her. She's a real believer and real human being with the positive, you know, message.
Mm.
So it took a little bit of time, and I said to me, well, maybe she will never come in the studios, you know. But finally, one day, we're in January 2019. Steven told me, yeah, she's gonna come tomorrow. I said, wow, Judy is really gonna come? All right. So we went to a mixing lab, and Judy came. It was like an angel coming. Yeah, a light. I felt like it was, somebody that you know for a long time, but you cannot explain that,
No,
And
no.
so she did the recording, and she recorded her voices. She sang a verse too that we wrote. And so yes, I'm so glad, so honored, and so thankful about her, her coming on that album, and
Album.
it's a
Yeah.
blessing.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
going to come back to Judy Mowatt in a minute, but there's also another artist that I think you've also worked with, Rick
Mm.
Jam.
Yes.
Really young artist and very, very talented artist as well, which I think I've only been hearing some of his music for maybe 2, maybe 3 years now.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of work with Philip from Earthcry,
Yeah.
I Review.
True.
And yeah, how did you two get together for your song?
Well, it was, it was that time, in 2019, January, February, and I was sleeping at that time. I was staying at Mikuzi. It's like a guest house, in Kingston. And I met a lot of people. And I was with Brinsley and Olivia, a girl from Poland, that is programming the Aswad Festival
Yes.
in Poland.
Yeah.
So we were together, and she said to me, "Well, I got some friends tonight. You have to meet them. There's Philip McFarlane, and there is also a young talented artist coming with him, Reggae Jam." I said, "Oh, okay, all right, I'll be there. So let's see it, let's see, and have a good time together." And so they came, and we began to chat, and to talk about music, jamming, and the young Reggae Jam was there. It was like 19 or 20. We were talking and about the way we grew up, in our families, and the difficulties of life too. He said to me, "Well, we have a lot of points in common." You said that in English?
Yes,
You
yes.
can put it all right. So a lot of points in common, and so okay, we said to each other, it could be cool to do something one day together. And he said, "You want to listen to my tracks?" I said, "Okay, let's do it." So he put I don't know, it was like on his iPhone or something like this. He put one of his track, and I was amazed about the voice, the vibe, the production of Philip
Yeah.
and I reuse records, big up. And so yeah, I was a real amazed. And maybe 2 weeks after that, I called him and said, "I've got a song for you. You want to record with me?" And he said, "Yeah, okay, let's do it." So we're in the studio 2 days after that, and here you go.
I think that's one of the things I really love about Jamaica, in that it's very spontaneous. Sometimes you can go
So
there with a certain plan in mind, and then something else can happen, and you sort of look back and you think to yourself, "Wow, did that really happen?"
yes, this is totally right. I feel the same, about that. There's something like there's a big connection, a big antenna, I don't know, on that island that makes things happening,
Yeah,
And so you can do that in Europe here, that's because to reach people, to talk with them or to record with them, you have to do many mails or so. A lot of them will never answer, So yeah, it's so different and so lively, and so yeah, there's something magic in that human connection in Jamaica.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Now,
right.
I know that whilst you've been going to back and forwards to Jamaica, as well
Mm.
as making music, you've also been doing some educational work as well.
Right.
The Alliance Française.
Yeah, Alliance Française, c'est ça.
Alias, right. Let's talk about that then, because I think that
Right.
that's really great how you're actually almost like building another type of bridge between the school kids.
Right. Thank you for your compliment. And this is maybe the first bridge I built,
Okay.
because the first time I came in Jamaica, as I said, it was 3 years ago. So I was not imagining that I will live this kind of stories, and I will tell you this kind of stories. I went there with my backpack to discover the country, feel the vibe, and because it was like a whole dream that you keep from young age.
Mm,
And so I went there, and I went to Kingston. I didn't know anybody. I knew, a little bit of James Smith because we played together with Nadia in France. So I know him a little bit, but I didn't know anybody. And so I was like, cruising the city and discovering, going and following the footstep of Bob. And I said to me, well, you do a lot of songwriting workshop in France. Why not proposing that to the Alliance Française, this institution in Kingston? Because there are, in every country you find this Alliance Française.
Okay.
So yeah, I went there. So I went there, and I saw that it was next to my place, to my room. So I went there. I talked to the director, and she said to me, "Well, that's really nice. We never heard about this kind of project, songwriting workshop in schools." And so she said to me, "Great, let's do it." And she called a lot of high schools and universities. I didn't expect that, because I was like in holidays, discovering Jamaica. And 2 days after, she said to me, "Well, you're gonna do a workshop there, and you go there." So I said, "Wow, this is great." So I began to do this kind of workshop, and the students were so involved in it and so happy to do it. I felt like a real positive energy doing it. And I don't know how it happened really, but media and TVs and radios and all kind of media in Jamaica heard about it, and it created a buzz. But it was like maybe my third week in Jamaica, and I began to go on the TV, like Smile Jamaica, TV, CVJ, CVM, Gleaner, Observer, everything came. So I said, "Wow, this is amazing. I never had that in my country." And so I had kind of, but not like this. It was like a
Yeah.
big promotion, and I was in holidays. So it was amazing. So yeah, I love to do that. Because the reason why I came to the Alliance Française is because I wanted, to give back to Jamaica what Jamaica gave me in the past, through reggae music, through its culture.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to give back, all the things that I received from Jamaica. And I cannot explain more than that, because yeah, so this is my contribution to share my culture, my knowledge, and share with the students over there. And yeah, teach them a little bit of me and my culture and my language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's it been like then for you as a European or a Frenchman going into Jamaica, into schools? How have the students responded to what you're advising them and what you're sharing?
Well, they were responding so well. I didn't know. What to expect at that time. And when I came, they were all smiling. It was kind of strange for them too, because this Frenchman come in doing some reggae music in the schools. And but there were such a good energy that everything was fluent and very cool. And so they were so involved in the writing of the songs. So I helped them about finding the French word, but because it was songwriting in French, what they did.
Yes.
And so it's not easy when you don't speak the language. So I was trying to explain it, and they received it so well. And all the time at the end, they didn't know each other, the different schools, but at the same, every time it was the same reaction. They were like, "Wow, David," and they were praying for me, and we were all singing, and it was it was so emotional, so moving for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that moment, and that's why I kept doing that. And I decided, with a French school to create a cultural exchange between a French high school and a Jamaican high school.
Yeah.
So this is the first exchange that um, I think that was done between those two countries in the schools. So I'm very proud of that project that we built.
Yeah.
And so we
This is
keep
the
on.
partnership with Tough Gong, right?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right. So yeah, this is the same story. I was doing that thing, and I was supposed to record with the Jamaican students in Jamaica. So we need to find a studio over there. And one day I was in the, in the yard at Oak Road, 56.
Yes.
And I was talking with Bongo Herman, who was there. So, and I said to him, well, I need to find a studio. Yeah, it's, the girl, this girl is is running the marketing services for Top Gong. I said, well, I'm gonna reach her. So I reached her, like, I didn't, to have a chance, because it was hard. And I told her that I had this project with schools, and if Top Gun could help me build it, because I didn't have a lot of money to do it. The French government helped me a little bit, but this is the only help I had. So I tried to have some help from enterprises from Jamaica. And so Top Gun said to me, well, we're gonna do something. And so yeah, they offered the tour of the studios for the students. Sorry. And they did a price for the studio and everything. It was very nice. And so we built step by step this partnership, and it's growing.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like just those 3 trips that you've had to Jamaica has opened up so many doors, so many different avenues for you.
Right.
So that not only can you carry on making the music you want to make, but like you said, you're giving back a lot to the community, to the people. I
really try to. I hope it's well received, and because I have such a real respect for reggae music, Jamaica, and its culture, and Rastafari as well. Because it's a beliefs, and I'm not a Rasta, but I understand liberty and the way of life.
Yeah.
And so I've got a big respect for all Rasta, because thanks to Rastafari, we have reggae music as well. So I'm thankful and grateful for that. And so I've real respect for all how do you say that? So for all of that, yes, what Jamaica gave to the world, because it's not only me, it's about worldwide, present. It's a worldwide present that they did. Yes.
Yeah. So going back to this new album, have we got any time schedules? Because I know that at the moment, because of the world that we're living in, it's difficult to plan. But have you got any sort of like timescales in your mind for which this album is going to be released?
Yes. We finally we have a schedule, because last year we were like struggling with this situation, this context, and we were wondering what would be the issue of that, the end of that. So finally we decided to release this album on September 2021. And yes, we have like 4 singles coming. We have the first single. So this first single for the year is Building Bridges, and we're gonna have like maybe 1 single every 8 weeks, something like this.
Right. Okay.
We try to keep this rhythm, because I'm so excited, and so I can't wait to release it. It was recorded 2 years ago, and unfortunately we had this problem last year with the COVID. So I want to share with the people, and I hope it's gonna enlighten their life, and share something positive in their life.
Yeah. Well, look, I really give thanks for your time today, because Building Bridges, like I said from the start, featuring Brinsley and Forde, is an amazing song. And to me, it almost gives us a bit of a taster for what's to come. So we're going to be looking out for these singles over the next few months as well. And then, of course, I think we probably need to have another talk again, maybe later on in the year or something, because there's a few other projects that I know that we've not spoken about today. But today, for me, the focus is on this album. So I want to give thanks for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure always. And I will never forget the way we met in Jamaica. So give thanks for everything. And big up to Rob as well.
Can't leave our country, man. Give thanks every time.
Yes.
Thanks so much for your time today, David. Okay? One love.
Yeah. Thank you so much. One love.
Bless.
Reggae Interviews. Word Sound Power.